First things first, what got you interested in baseball?
It's actually like a funny story, bro. I won't lie. So like we were all kids. Obviously, you wrestled. I bet you played other sports before that. Like before high school, I think I was soccer and swimming. So like I couldn't tell you what seasons those were anymore. Once like so I basically soccer I hated because I was the tallest, so they like put me in goalie. And I never got diagnosed for ADHD, but like I just can't stand there. You know what I mean? I was picking daisies. Like I remember one time some kid scored a goal because he accidentally kicked it downfield, and I was picking a daisy, and I was just like, all right, well either I'm gonna go score goals or I'm just not gonna play. And basically I didn't play the other position because I probably just wasn't good enough, and that's fine. But like, so I quit soccer because of that, because I was just bored, didn't like it. But I was good at swimming because my mom went to swimming at Harvard, and so I was good at swimming, but basically like the baseball, since I played like year-round baseball since I was like 8, since I got kicked out of Little League because they were like, you're too like big and strong. I hit a kid in the head basically. And I said, you need to get out. And like in a nice way, they were like, dude, you're too good for us. Like if you hit a ball, whatever, right? So then I went to like this fall league. And so like whenever the swim season was, I think it's in like April, I would always come back like, what was it? Like probably like 3 weeks, maybe a month into the season. So basically like all the moms and stuff, like everybody would be on the relay or whatever, and they would all be like set, and like the kids would be happy. And basically I'd come in and take somebody's job, and the moms all talk shit to my mom about it. And basically, so like after a while, my parents were like, dude, like, what do you want to do? Because either you can go play baseball year round. So I just chose baseball, but basically I just liked baseball the most because when you play, it's just kind of, I don't know, it feels fluid. Like when you just go out there and have fun, it's like when I step on the baseball field or like hang out with the baseball field, hang out with the baseball team, it kind of just, that little heart like felt moment that you're just like, I feel right. And then God, I have like the God-given talent to be as good as I do, so I can be at this level and have like an extra 4 years after high school to play at least. And so definitely I think just like the love and passion for baseball that has been always since I was like a little kid. I just love like running out there and just diving in the dirt or like diving for a ball. And like whenever I see a baseball, like, I just want to pick it up and throw it as hard as I can. And that's like the one thing that's just never, because it's just like, if you're sad, you can throw a baseball. If you're angry, you can throw the shit out of a baseball. If you're having a good day, you can have fun with the baseball. Like you can go play wiffle ball or something like that. You know what I mean? So definitely, I felt like baseball was the sport for me because I hated failing, and it teaches you that like failing's okay. And that's obviously like I'm impatient. Like I hate losing. Like I remember like my mom used to tell me like when I was a little kid and I couldn't do the monkey bars, I would make her wait after school for like 6 hours until I could do it. So it was just like some OP. And so basically I just like baseball because like the challenge, and that's never left me. And I definitely was pushed towards baseball just because it consumed more of my time. So I never really reached for any other sport. And so I couldn't tell you anything about basketball or football just because like I've never done anything besides like watch Sunday Night Football or like the national like championship or whatever. But like, so like I just don't know anything other than baseball. And like, it's just never felt different since the day I've picked up the first baseball. So I've just never questioned it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, now, who's inspired you on and off the field?
I definitely think my grandpa inspired me to play baseball, just because like he's obviously the stories and stuff. And when you're a little kid, you look up to him like the knight in shining armor or whatever. You just look at him like a figure, like an idol. And so I definitely think he inspired it just by telling me stories about like his brother playing in like the minor leagues. And like that was in like 1930s. Like imagine baseball back then. Like you traveled from like Detroit to Texas on a bus for like 14 days, like some OP, like crazy through the desert stuff. So definitely, so like hearing all those stories has definitely inspired me off the field, just like to, like, I don't know, it's like, it seems like an adventure. Definitely pro ball has always been the goal since I've been a little kid, and I'm just ready for that adventure, and I've been looking forward to that adventure. But then definitely on the field, just inspiring would definitely be, I'd say always like big league dudes, just because like, no, actually, I think I'd be more inspired by like when I was like a little kid, looking at like Team USA, like those guys, just because those guys, you look at them and in a way they're supposed to be like the perfect baseball team and obviously the best baseball team, and they kind of just represent something bigger than baseball. Like they represent a nation, and you kind of look at that like it's just like it seems really special to me. And definitely looking at the players on that, because I think we had 2 players on our team last year on Team USA. So definitely hearing those stories has definitely put like another goal in mind. But I don't know, playing for the Team USA eventually. So definitely, I think those are like the people that inspired me on and off. But like, if like you want to hone it down to one person that's been on the field, probably like high school coaches, like just like getting you to the next level, like inspiring, like telling their story, like. Because high school coaches, it's different than college coaches. Because like high school coaches, they're just trying to get you that one step farther, even if it's like JUCO, D1, D2, D3, anything like any level. So I definitely think high school coaches, like when I had like the ability I had, that like pushing me to look over college and like look at the draft and like realize there's a whole nother level of baseball. I think that's like on the field.
No, getting into high school, you jumped to varsity as a freshman. What was your first thought being an underclassman on this team, and how were you able to build some respect with some of the upperclassmen?
I definitely like not to be cocky, but like I walked into high school like knowing, just because like I don't know, like when I was so I don't like I cause just because I think before walking into my freshman year, like I was doing all the Team USA stuff, so like I kind of just knew, and like obviously talking to the coaches in the fall and stuff like that, but definitely, I mean you kind of walk in there with like a target on your back, just because it's like at that time like my name was like because I just went to like this Team USA thing, so like people were all like blowing it up for no reason, and I think like 3 weeks into freshman year I got my first scholarship. I don't think anybody else on the team had a scholarship. So it was just kind of like one of those freshman things. But then like I also played like different. Like I kind of just because at the time I think I was only a pitcher, but I was supposed to hit too. And they didn't know that, right? So I was only pitching, but then in practice and stuff, I'd be hitting and then like talking to the team, boosting people up and stuff like that. So like then my freshman year, I was supposed to be a captain, but then one of the seniors had a fit about it and basically like stormed off the field and went home. Just like hearing that like a freshman was going to be a captain. And basically, so that like I didn't get to be a captain because like he was just not gonna have it, like no shot, like he was just being really petty, like he just wasn't gonna have it, and basically just definitely the pressure going into like freshman year, because like obviously now you can deal with the pressure a lot. Like we're 20 years old now. I don't know how like, when your birthday is, but like we're in our 20s now.
Yeah.
And so like it's not like we're 14. So like definitely when I was 14, I was definitely probably walking in a little insecure, trying to like I don't know, trying to like fill in the footsteps that have already been planted there for me, because it's like I was supposed to come in and just dominate, but then I was supposed to like honestly I think at the time I was a better hitter than pitcher, and kind of like when I got up on the mound and I was pitching, I kind of just threw as hard as I can, didn't really know where it was going. So it's like how effective is that? Like if you get the hitter that's scared and he's gonna swing, that's okay, but like I could hit too. So basically, definitely freshman year jumping to varsity was a little nerve wracking, but definitely I think once I started splitting it between pitching and hitting later in the year, it was definitely easier and like more. Definitely, you can put your like mind to different places when you're playing.
Freshman year, 16 appearances, 4-2 record, batting average 235, all pretty consistent. How were you able to stay consistent as a freshman?
I think freshman year I just kind of just went out there and kind of just played, because obviously I was definitely trying to just figure out who I was trying to be, just because it's like I was pushing way too hard for no reason. I just was like I was getting angry for no reason. I was pushing way too hard for no reason, because I was trying to fulfill like a shoes that like I didn't need to fill. I just needed to play just because like I had the ability. It wasn't just like people were rumoring about me, and so I just needed to like take a step back, relax, breathe, play some baseball. And so I definitely think later in the year, once I started, like how I told you, like I kind of went in there as a pitcher first. So I think I had a few appearances, because it wasn't like I was starting or anything. Like I was just later in the game. Maybe I had like an opener, maybe like 2 innings, and then I would pitch like 4 or something like that. So like I think you said like 19 innings, and you said 4-2, but I didn't have that many starts. I don't think. I think it was like a later relief type of whatever. But I definitely think later in the year when I started hitting and like being engaged earlier in the game as well, because like I hit the ball far. So like they threw me in like the 4, 5, 6 spot when I was a freshman, and they kind of just looked at me like, all right, go play. But like when I got thrown in the lineup, I kind of got like a burden taken off my shoulder because it's kind of like you're sitting around all day. Like I think about a wrestling match. Like I'm not too sure exactly how meets work, but if you're being pumped up and you're like, I'm gonna go first, and you get thrown 2 hours later, like you get juiced up, warmed up for nothing. You know what I mean? And so definitely in a way, like later when I was able to hit and like being focused on hitting, and then like turn on pitching. You know what I mean? So I definitely think the success freshman year was later in the year when I was able to balance two like platforms at once.
Okay. Well, the conference, I can't even remember what it's called anymore, but College
Well,
Park was in
it
it.
also changed. It changed in the middle of our high
Yeah,
school years. I
it
think
has.
it changed like our junior year. I think we went into like a new
Yeah, the
new
DVAL, I
division or
think, and the
something.
DAL. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, it had College Park, which is known for some national power, being a national powerhouse here and there. Clayton Valley's been good. Northgate was good when you were there. How were you able to compete with some of these top teams?
Honestly, I think definitely I enjoyed our league when I was there because definitely like talking to Northgate baseball players now and these days they say like the league's just not good or whatever, right? So they say they're struggling at Northgate just because like they don't have that many dudes, but we had at least for 3 years we had me, Chris Rogan, Kevin Clancy, Nash Rudy, and then Messiah. And obviously Messiah left, and then we had Nash's little brother in play. So definitely getting like five dudes consistently for 3, 4 years that all were above averages. Like you get the dudes obviously that can go play, compete, but it's like when you throw somebody out on the mound that's like a B, just say a B average, it's like they're gonna dominate average guys. You know what I mean? So definitely like we had five dudes that can compete at all times. And also like at the other schools, like our freshman year, we went up against Clayton Valley, and Clayton Valley just came back from like the National High School Invitational, and they finished like second in the nation. Like they were the highest public school in the country that they've ever seen, right? They were just like even like two of their dudes just won the first round 2 years ago. So it's like think about that, and definitely playing that freshman year and seeing that team, like that was like the dream team, you know what I mean? But then us freshmen, we kind of looked at them and we were like, that kind of looks like us. Like, like obviously we didn't have the same caliber, but it's like it's imagine if like that was like the Lakers and we were like the Harlem Globetrotters, you know what I mean? Like we got some skills and we got some spunk, but like we weren't going to be that. But it kind of definitely sparked a fire, and definitely having that for the few years in the hard conference was a solid. But me personally, I definitely liked playing against it, and especially when it switched, when we started getting Campo and stuff like that in our league, and Akalani's. But the College Parks and Clayton Valleys and Concords are for like our underclass years. They produced some good dudes. So like when you went out there, it kind of locked me in more and gave me a better chance for success, just to like due to the fact that you go out there and you kind of like know somebody on the other team that can actually like swing it a little bit or tuck it a little bit, and you're kind of like, okay, well I'm actually gonna have to like compete, and this isn't gonna be like a breeze or whatever, you know what I mean? Like you can't, it's just not a walk in the park today, and you kind of have to like lock it in a little bit more, and definitely like I have some adversity. Like we had one kid, his name was like Christian Strand on College Park, and it's just like whenever you face that guy, it's just kind of like you looked at him and you're like, okay, I got to pitch this guy a little bit different. It's just like one of those dudes in high school that you actually are like, oh, this dude might just take me 500 feet real quick. Like you just don't know. And so I definitely think a lot of my success was having to deal with like those guys for 4 straight years, and like understanding like the caliber that they were at and me trying to get better and so I can dominate them was definitely one of the reasons that I succeeded in our league and got where I was. So definitely due to the players around us at our time, that led to like a lot of success for a lot of the people in the league.
Looking later down the road, you were one of the few stars of Northgate. You just talked about how there were about five of you. scouts coming to the games, college recruits, etc. Describe the experience of talking both to colleges as well as some MLB scouts.
I definitely, I like personally, I talked to more. I'd say I talked to more pro scouts just due to the fact that my first offer was St. Mary's when I was 14, maybe like 13, and then my second offer was Cal. And then at the time, I kind of looked at Cal like, oh, just Power Five, like academics, like it's gonna look good on my resume, and kind of just said, like, just sign me up, right? And so then later down the line, so I didn't really talk to any colleges, you know what I mean? But like when our coaches that recruited me here, they switched to Stanford, the pitching coach and the head coach, so they left us. And then we had our new guy come in, and I was thinking about USD, just like San Diego, be at the beaches, whatever, have some fun with baseball. But then I ended up staying because I liked the new coach. And then with that, so obviously like in there, I had to talk to some colleges, college coaches, whatever, like you were talking. And then further down the line, our senior year, obviously like the draft started coming. And so a lot of teams, a lot of people came to my house, a lot of meetings, a lot of like tests and stuff like that. And obviously I had like the outside showcases, like the prospect development pipeline, whatever, like a bunch of stuff. And, but like they would start like coming to the games and stuff like that. And obviously like your hair starts like standing up a little bit. It's just like, holy shit, like that's the Yankees guy. Like he's wearing a Yankees hat with a radar gun. It's just kind of like, I don't know, as a little kid, you kind of like, or like if you like played football or whatever, like, well, like real talk, but it's like, it's the New York Yankees, you know what I mean? Like they walk around with this, they play in New York, like Empire State, like it's sick. And so definitely seeing a lot of those scouts and stuff like that was a little nerve wracking, but I don't know, man. It's just like kind of one of those things. It's kind of like you look at them and it's just like eventually when you talk to them, it's okay. But like when they first text you, it's kind of like, ooh. But when I got drafted, I had to go back to college and like talk to our coaches and stuff because I told them like, if you don't, I want a higher scholarship or I'm going to go to the draft. And so I got that increased. But then eventually I just said, I'm going to have to go to Cal. Just for the academics and stuff like that. And just because like the money at the time didn't outweigh Cal and what Cal's going to have the benefits down the line. Because like even if I don't finish this year, if I go draft or whatever the case will be, like Cal's going to still like bloom. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm still going to have Cal Berkeley degree. Like you can't really get that a lot. So, but definitely I just had to choose Cal, man. Like it was like a lot of stress in high school and stuff like that. But like, once you started like stop filling out the forms and stuff, like the medical forms for the teams, and you kind of just like got back to baseball and you kind of just played. But like because like definitely over summer I was supposed to go to this place called Healdsburg. It's up by Napa.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And I couldn't go. I couldn't go because the Padres, they said you can't play until you tell us if you're coming or not. Just because like if I was gonna go up to Napa and I just blew out my elbow. Like just, you know what I mean? So like, but definitely in high school, it added a lot of suspense, like with the decisions. But I definitely had an easier route than a lot of other dudes that I knew, just because I committed to college when I was like 14. You know what I mean? So it's like I never sat there and stressed out about like I needed a 3.0 to get into UC Berkeley.
Well, how has Cal improved your game since you've left Northgate?
I've grown up, man. I think the number one thing about Cal is just maturity and learning. One, obviously, how to live on your own. Like you can't just be, hey, mom, I want a quesadilla. Like when I get home from school anymore, you know what I mean? Like you kind of have to like start picking up your back, like you can't start slouching around. You can't be sad about it. Like you kind of just have to wear it, you know what I mean? And so definitely moving out of college. And I'd say, honestly, I grew more when I had my own apartment just because it's like I was living on my own. Like I'm actually like out of the house kind of. Obviously, he's paying for it. But definitely I think Cal, like having to deal with the burden of school mixed with 6 a.m. conditionings twice a week, like 3 days of weights, then getting absolute on the weekend, can't recover, you know what I mean? So definitely freshman year was hard just because of the transition and trying to deal with it. But over the years, I obviously, me personally, I didn't have the best experience at college just because obviously COVID, so we didn't get last year's football. Then freshman year, I just was like I was just a wreck, you know what I mean? Just freshman year crazies, but just started partying and but definitely learning to balance like school baseball and outside time has improved my baseball game honestly because it's like taught me how to like make a routine where I want to put my energy throughout the week and kind of just stuff like that, you know what I mean? So definitely I'd say just growing up because like coming out of college it's like if you went to minor leagues you're kind of like busting across country for 8 hours a day and like I haven't even bussed probably more than an hour and a half or like maybe three maybe I guess our Monterey trip in high school was like three but like in college like we bussed to Long Beach, we bussed to UCLA, like we've been down there, so it's kind of like you start learning like what the minor league life's about. So I definitely think college for improving my game has just taught me how to become like a better all-around player and just how to like control my life better so I can focus more energy on baseball and not show up to baseball practices and waste my time pretty much like get the full energy and experience out of every part of my day.
How would you describe your pitching style and your pitching arsenal?
um I'd say definitely power pitcher because obviously big, lengthy. I don't stride that far down the mound. Like I'm really whippy. I'm just kind of snappy. So but obviously I throw hard. You know what I mean? Obviously people on the scouting report are going to be like, this guy throws mid highs. He's going to throw hard. Like he's going to throw fastball. Like be ready for it. So I definitely think that working with that, you obviously like the easiest thing to get around that is to have off speed. So I definitely think this off season I've tried to convert from like a 1 to 3 pitch guy that's like 100% to adding a fourth pitch in there. Just obviously to throw off hitters and like get different, like how you said, arsenal and just kind of like use different pitch techniques and stuff like that. So like pitch sequencing and just kind of how to like get hitters out more efficiently. Don't just try to blow a fastball by this guy all the time. Like when it's 0-2, like obviously don't be scared to knock the doors off somebody, but there's a better way about going about pitching and definitely learning how to be more like I guess you can call it a starter, just like be more efficient with your pitches. Like obviously I don't know what role next year we're going to be. I've been closer for 2 years, so I'll probably be a closer again. And I love it. Like I don't have a problem with starter, closer, whatever it is, but like definitely learning to how to like efficient, like increase efficiency during the innings. So I don't use my arm too much and my like fatigue on my shoulders and stuff limits. So like later down the line, like I just less fatigue, less soreness. Cause it's obviously like everybody gets old. If I'm throwing a baseball for 13 years straight, I'm going to be sore. Like I'm going to be an old man. My shoulder's not going to work in 10 years. So definitely this summer I've been trying to learn how to limit pitches like in at bats and stuff like that. So definitely just working about becoming more of a pitcher compared to like a thrower.
Coming into last season, obviously we keep saying it ended all of a sudden. So what were your goals coming into the season, and how did the end of the season affect you?
So definitely the goals, we just came off of a regional. We had 2 first rounders, so that definitely helps. Like we had some dudes and we had some good, like they also possess good characteristics and good team values and core concepts. So they also benefited stuff off of their just like not just a natural raw talent. But freshman year we went to a regional. We got to go to Arkansas. That was one of the sickest stadiums I've ever seen. They have a whole like, like at Northgate, like how there's a baseball field and a shot put, and then
Mm-hmm.
like imagine if they had all of that like in one of our gyms, like at Northgate. Just like they put,
Wow.
so it's sick. Like there's a baseball field inside, then like it's turf. Yeah, so it's just cool. So definitely seeing that atmosphere and like the different parts of the world. Like we went to TCU this last year before it got shut down. But our freshman year, we went to a regional. We call it a Reggie, and so like the Reggie was like the first one we went to in like I think like 6 years, 2011 or 12, maybe 13. But so it was a good accomplishment. It was a good accolade. And then so definitely sophomore year, we came into it like, hey, we want to go back there. Like we sniffed the regional. We went 0-2. We went 2-out. We got absolutely clapped. Like we don't want that to happen. We just want to get there again. And so, but we lacked like a core group, like a leaders and stuff like that. We were kind of like cliquey. So that was our problem this year. So definitely, but our goal was to, okay, so last year we touched Reggie. Next year we want to touch a super regional. So our goal to start the year was to like sniff a super regional. That was our goal. That was the next stepping stone in Cal baseball's timeline. And so, but definitely going about it, our team kind of like fell apart. Like obviously we went 6-11, I think. We played 16 games, 17 games. Yeah, 6-11. But definitely, so like after a while, obviously, like I don't think we won a single series. Like maybe we won like one of the first two. But like we went to Long Beach to start, lost first 2 days, and won Sunday. Next weekend, St. John's, I'm pretty sure we lost 2. Next weekend, somebody else. Then we went to TCU, got absolutely just ran through. Wasn't pretty. And so definitely our goals kind of like started dwindling, and we kind of just got frustrated at each other. We were pissed off when we won. We were pissed off when we lost. Nothing was pretty. And so definitely coming into COVID, it honestly probably was like a little blessing in disguise in the fact that like we were 6-16. Like we were on such a downhill drop that like to go back uphill and get like equal and get in playoffs, it would just take forever. You know what I mean? So I see it as a blessing in disguise, and hopefully that our other teammates have like grasped it and like they come out of it and there are like better baseball players pretty much. Because it's like you look at it and it's like 4 months of training. Like if you put your mind to it, like in 4 months you can get a 6-pack. You know what I mean? Like realistically, like you can, like the human body is insane. Like you can do whatever you want. And but so as long as we took it seriously, but definitely this year where it's going to be definitely. Because last year was in a way like our rebuild year. Because I kind of told that we had 2 first-rounders, but we also had like 4-6 other dudes like that got drafted that like all helped like our core like team like connections. But then like without that, we kind of lost like the bridges from like the different groups and stuff. So like we kind of just fell apart like a puzzle. So I definitely think next year is going to be a good year. We got some good freshmen coming in, and hopefully like we put it all back together.
Well, you just sort of started to lead into my next couple questions here. How have you trained for the next season, and what do you expect from yourself and your team?
I'll start with like for myself. I expect just to be 100% ready. Really, like I want to be draft ready. That's what like in a way I'm going to be striving for, and not like trying to be like in a way like selfish. But I know that if I put myself in that position at that like level of like that tier of Ian Villers that I can get to, really, I know it'll help my team in the long run. So definitely over the summer, I went up to Driveline. It's a facility up in Washington. So like that helped me out for like 2 weeks. I continued with their program, but then I got a little hurt knee for a little bit. Nothing crazy, but it was just like a little liquid under my kneecap or some weird stuff. Basically I couldn't do any like quick, like jerky movements, like changing direction type of stuff, like squatting for a little bit, but I'm back on it. But I definitely think over the summer, just kind of one thing was like arm strength, getting it back to like where season was. Just because like in this fall, like really all you could do is really take video. Like that's all everybody's been doing. So definitely trying to get good video. But with the video, it also served another purpose in the like regard that you can like analyze it and you can break it down. And definitely if you're using like the correct like X, Y, and Z phone app, you can like put like dots and you can see how your body moves or whatever. So I definitely think video has been a good thing for my personal training. Just the fact that I can like, you can see yourself just because of COVID, you can't really have like a pitching coach out there and you're kind of like distant from everybody. Like, yeah, kind of what I said, like, I'm not a full like COVID enthusiast. Like, but at the end of the day, like if I'm my old pitching coach that's like 85 isn't going to come out and coach me just because it's like if I have a little bit of the virus, he could die. So definitely I think video has been the big thing. And then I think that if everybody just kind of in a way puts their pieces kind of like what I said the last time back together and we all kind of just come together and we're open-minded and kind of buy into the team values, we'll come back like running just because it's going to be a hot ground when we start just because we open at Florida and like they're ranked number 1 in the nation and they just built like another $90 million complex. So it's stupid. $90 million.
You think you'll ever see that much?
No, that's more money than I couldn't even imagine what you do with $90 million. Like you're building a stadium.
Maybe
Like
buy a farm. You said, right?
yeah, bro. Like Mike Trout can buy 4 Florida Gator stadiums. Like all right, that's how much money Mike Trout's gonna have after 10 years. That's
Well,
pretty unreal.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just said that's pretty unreal that
Yeah.
he can buy. Yeah.
Well, you said you're a power pitcher, but I gotta ask, what if you had to give yourself a player comp? What would it be?
Like a scouting report.
I guess that. I mean, unless you want to compare yourself to one
Oh,
MLB player.
oh, oh, oh,
Yeah.
oh, oh, like a pro player comp.
Yeah.
Um, I think I'm not as body in tuned. Like obviously, these guys are like 30, 35, so like they know their body a little bit better than I do. But one person that I do look at a lot and I'm trying to be towards is probably Noah Syndergaard. Just a big, tall, like I want to be smooth like he does, how it kind of like his legs just up and down, just fluid body, but then like staying tall and just obviously just throwing the shit out of the ball. But I think definitely just like my power aspect, if I can just start getting stronger and more lean and like know my body like he does, that's probably like the person I want to be like compared to pretty much in the long run.
I know you said, you got kicked out of Little League for being too good. You always wanted to go to the MLB, but if you went back in time and told yourself that, what do you think you'd say? That you're on the verge of the MLB, you're playing in college right now?
Honestly, if I told myself when I was a kid, I'd probably not want to, just because like not along the line you stop having as much fun and desire for the game, but like when you're a little kid at little league or like playing t-ball, like you hit the ball and every little kid on the field runs after and they all hit heads and they fall down. It's like you can't ever beat that pure like genuine moment. And so definitely I think if I went back and kind of like explained it to them, I'd like tell them it happened like when you're like 28 or something, just so like you can like not worry about it for like an extra few years, just because like dude like you I just remember like a few like memories like when you're like 8 or something and like you did something like not out of the ordinary but like above average, like you made a diving play when you're like 5 or something, even if you didn't mean to, people kind of looked at you and you're like, oh, like look at that shit, and it's just kind of like
I still got some of those.
exactly, and it's just kind of like those are the memories that you like. Those are like the feel good memories. So I definitely think if I was going to go back, like cherish those more, just because I bet there's memories that I'm never going to get back about those times that like were to die for, like back then. But like you're never going to remember them. So I definitely think like go back and like be, hey man, like enjoy Little League for a few more years. Don't hit people with baseballs. Like go have fun, bro.